this week's installment of the Footy Abroad show, multi-streamed on all of your favorite fan channels. The four of us, we have got a very interesting energy in the mix tonight. Lots to get through. All right, Luke, we'll just start with you, mate. How you doing?
Mate, can I just say something? Knock! Knock! Who's there? Owen! Owen who? Owen One-Sainers! Let's go, mateys! Let's go! $8 million certainties! Wait, oh shit, hang on. I had my YouTube going. There was two of me yelling at the same time. God damn. How we going, fellas? God, it's good to get a win in opening round. All you guys are in black. Yeah, all having a somber funeral tonight.
You know what? Fair play. Fair play. One thing I noticed about you, Luke, this week is that you waited until the game was over to cash your receipts. And
Yeah. I had to make sure. Oh, but no. In all seriousness, bloody great game. It was credit. I said it in my review as well. Just credit to the Saints. They took us right to the end, and a little bit more accuracy and ball use inside that forward 50, and they would have beaten us. They're going to be a good team going forward. But the old heads and the experience just sort of prevailed, I guess. But it was so much fun to be there. Terry, you were messaging right after the game. It was electric. Like Jake, you probably felt it too. Like credit, I didn't think that, I naively said 70-30 or 80-20 Collingwood to Saints supporters at their home game, but it felt almost 50-50. It was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It was good. It was good fun. After a whole summer of being written off. I know it's only one game, but it's fine.
hey, man, Pies are a top 4 team over here.
That's what you said.
Jake, I know what it's like to be at the MCG or any game and to have the stress of the game. So from my lens, I'm like, wow, this is a really good energy. But for you, what was it like? Like obviously game day nerves, buzzing, excitement. What was it from your point of view?
No, buzzing before the game was good. Got in a few hours early, went to the pub. The build up was nice. Felt like a final for us. It was there, and then it wasn't. But Swoop summarized it very well. Like, I think in the moment, a lot of Saints fans are a bit panicky after the game and reactionary and emotional. But I think there was a little bit there. I think on another day we do win it. I think the forward entries was kind of what killed us, and then not dealing with Dacos and being naive on that front, and leaving Houston and Josh as well to do whatever they wanted. So I kind of felt like it was a coaching issue more than the execution in a way. I just felt like we didn't play the way that we should have. And I told Swoop during the week, I said, if it's close and tight and it gets to that moment, 10 minutes to go, like if the experience needs to come into it, that's where the Pies will excel. And that's where they've done it for many years. And we obviously don't have that experience in that arena in that moment. And it showed. Like we butchered probably 4 or 5 inside 50s in the final 3 minutes to really get it within a kick. And we blew every single one. We just played too quick or too panicky and just bobbled the ball around and had literally no composure at all. But for Porsche, like we won 2 quarters, they won 2 quarters. They were just cleaner when it mattered. We just kind of fell away in key moments, and Naz if Naz has a quiet game and Nick has a quiet game, it's not a big deal. But when Nick has such a big game and they actually keep Naz to such a quiet game, I think and we lose by 12, you almost say that's the game right there, because it was such a tight game, like fine margins in these types of games. And we kind of cracked under the pressure, to be honest. I think some of our boys saw the lights and they were a bit bright, and they needed the sunnies. They needed to wear the sunnies.
Oh, what did I say? They needed too bright.
Yeah.
Biggest home and away crowd, biggest crowd since the grand final.
Yep.
Bright light.
Yep. And Pies, they know how to do it, as we all know. So credit to them. Full credit.
I There was a point, maybe it was like a 5 or 6 minute period. I reckon there might have been, maybe 6 to 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And from memory, it was a 12-point game.
Mhm.
And I remember watching it, I'm like, and the Saints, like, they just tried so hard. And it was almost like they just willed themselves to the forward 50 entry kick. And it was just that one kick that just had no composure. I mean, I know this because I see it with my own team. Carlton's very similar. We try hard, but then there's just no clean kick inside 50. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how you view that one, but you can't deny that the Saints were like really up for it.
Our clearance work out of center bounce was excellent. Like, it's the best I've seen in a long time. Like, the way we got it out, it was just the next kick. And I mean, we didn't have that target. We had Sharman, Owens and that, but Marshall goes down and no King there. It's games like that. I just can't help but be like, fuck, we need someone in that goal square that can just take a massive mark. It's a pain in the ass not having it. I disagree. I was upset at the time, but I don't think I'm that upset now. Like, I think it's literally opening round. It is literally opening round. The media and the bang up, like Carlton and that, get pumped, and we cop the heat today. And I'm like, what is going on with the world? Like, let's actually focus on, like, there's just a little bit more to it with other clubs than us. I think we'll be okay. I just think it's kind of a bit of a bang up. It's just going to the money again. TDK was good. I thought he was great. I thought Flanders was pretty good. I thought JSOS was great. Like, he was really good.
Did you?
And I thought Silvani was really stable. Yeah. Like, he didn't need to do.
I'm glad he didn't come to Collingwood after that performance. Let me tell you.
Oh, you thought he was poor?
$1.1 million. Jesus.
You thought he was poor?
I thought Billy Frampton played a better game than JSOS.
Did you think he was poor?
I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was. I
thought he did enough. The only one I was disappointed in was Ryan, but then he kicked that goal at the end. I was like, okay.
That was a nice goal.
And then he missed the bloody snap, which you just go and drop punt that. But anyway, disappointing. Move on.
Oh, I love it. We're in the thick of it. Real football. Pommy, our Blues, overwhelmed, over emotional, overawed. Just no good, mate.
Do they have to be our Blues? Can't they be your Blues?
Oh yeah, you're the footy guy now.
Can we have a Pom and Zoe argument when one of the kids does something absolutely stupid and we're trying to palm off who's got 70% responsibility? Yeah, I mean, it was a tough watch, wasn't it? I mean, let's be honest. No beating around the bush. You've had them two clowns there enjoying life or surviving life. I mean, for me, it was hard to watch. I mean, I'd love to do what the club wants me to do and sprinkle fairy dust on it and tell you that it's all right. Bambi's happy in the end, but at the moment we're in the first 10 minutes of Bambi. We've just realised his mum's dead, and that was bad, wasn't it? As bad as it can be. I mean, Carlton were out spiritually beaten, emotionally beaten, structurally beaten, physically beaten, scoreboard beaten. In any way you can be beaten, we were beaten. And I mean, look, I'd love to have Jake's attitude. It's only round 0. There's no such scale as 0 to 10. It's 1 to 10 and all that. But it's a tough pill to swallow. And now the big work this week against Richmond, who will probably be watching that and going, let's take it to the Blues. And I hope they are. I hope they're watching it and saying, let's ask the question. Let's ask the question. So yeah, I'll take them. I appreciate we're in a reset, but I mean, I wouldn't expect that third quarter in 2018, and we're in 2026. But that's how I feel. My Carlton hat on though. Night was all totally fine. Nice day out at Sydney. The weather was nice. Players got to spend a couple of hours together. That's good. And we don't talk about the past, Michael Voss said. So last week didn't happen. We look to the future. So cool.
Yeah, you know what's bad when we get pity from a
I was
Collingwood
just
supporter.
about to say that.
That's a burn.
Yeah, and then there's just I don't know if it's because we live. I mean, I live in the Carlton bubble. You guys live in your club bubbles. Are you across what's happening with like Doherty voice message.
Jesus Christ.
Of course.
Do you guys look over the fence and think, what the fuck are you all doing?
Can I just say, if we want to talk about it now, I think Doherty. Look, there's a couple of cogs, right? Maybe Gorringe shouldn't have played that without permission, whatever. But what Doherty said, as a ex-club captain and a stalwart of the club, like a legend of the club, he has every right to say that. And for Carlton to be like, oh, no, we're going to kick him out of the keynote and he's not going to be there till. I thought that was pretty, in my opinion, outside looking. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I thought that was very emotional based and not really backing in your club captain to say, oh, hey, we've had a talk to Doherty. He had a meeting with Voss. This is what he's saying. This is what blah 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 blah, and that's it. Now they've made it bigger than it's the Barbra Streisand effect. They've made it bigger than it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, Pommy and I had a really good conversation about it today as well. Yeah, I think from Carlton's point of view, and I'm just guessing here, they must feel some type of way that Doc's not having their back or whatever the case may be. And yeah, we just keep drawing attention to what's not important. Like the most important thing in my view today is Richmond Thursday. Like sort out the brain fades in the third quarter from last week. Otherwise, it's going to happen again on Thursday. And instead, we're here talking about a function.
Yeah, that was a great video that you did as well about Voss's presser.
You just knew.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Pommy, how did you break it down?
I knew you were going to ask me that, so I prepared something for this very moment. But I mean, genuinely, I don't buy into the off-field theatre, Terry. I really don't. And I think this kind of shit. There's so many podcasts making cheap, repeat, filler content about it, and the media do the same. They take one quote, they run with it, they drive a narrative home. And the club does what the club does. Well, I mean, it doesn't... Look, one thing I've learned in 12 years in this country, what a white English guy thinks about Australian football is about as relevant as the rats during the bubonic plague. Like, genuinely, that's what it is. So I appreciate my opinion's worthless. The club has made their feelings known. But I think... what annoys me is when this kind of stuff is sold, like the club, as a way to drive narratives to dupe the paying public. And genuinely, I'm going to be totally honest. I'm 40 years old. I'm too old for this. I don't care about the politics, the messaging, the social media, the likes and the clicks. I just want a football club that's good at one thing, and that's football.
Yeah.
Genuinely, that's all I want. And that's all I really care about. I don't care about... I'll be honest. There's 44 players on the list. I couldn't give less of a shit about their feelings. I couldn't give less of a shit about their personal lives. I don't care about anyone as that club as a brother or a sister. I just expect them to go out and be good at football, excel at football, be excellent at the game. And hopefully that's what they can do. You know it, Terry. Look, the club don't want to hear it, so I'm going to be totally honest. As far as I'm concerned, why do we give it airtime? They don't deserve the airtime because they're not smart enough to be a political engine. They are simply footballers that kick a ball. So my message to Carlton, just be excellent at doing that, please. That's all I want. That's why I pay my subs. Just be good at it. That's all I ask.
Well said. Very well said. All right, lads. We're going to be efficient and we're going to go through one by one, something that's on our mind around the league. Luke, you're the winner of the weekend, so maybe you can start off.
Beautiful. Look, I gonna keep it to just a couple of a few things that I saw over the weekend, mainly with the rule changes and stuff like that. Firstly, the Collingwood St Kilda game. I thought and I'd love to get your thoughts on it as well. The free kick between the arcs. I thought that worked incredibly well. Because from what I saw, and I didn't really see it in the other games, and maybe because I wasn't just paying close enough attention, but the want to keep that ball in when it was going towards the boundary and keep knocking it in, I thought was fantastic. And it just sets up so well, especially when you're coming out of D50. You don't want to bomb it to the wing just in case there's an errant bounce and it comes back in, repeat entries and stuff like that. But my my topic I want to talk about is the use of a pseudo sub. Now I know we've only had a small sample size, and I bring it up obviously because Pendle's played 55% of game time, 5 goal assists, whatever it was. But if you look through the if you
Didn't
look
get a kick in the first half though.
didn't get got one touch. Ross didn't even see him play in the first half, even though he gave 3 goal assists with his hands. But that's neither near here nor there. But you look at the other games. So Sydney Carlton, which was the Thursday night game, the first one. Papley and Sheldrick play about 55% of game time. Papley does run-throughs at the end of the game. Gold Coast and Cats, you've got Jai Clark and Alex Davies playing between 50 and 59% game time. Finn McGuinness, 56% game time. Jordan Croft, the new kid Zane Zakastelski. And there was about 5 players, mainly from the Bulldogs, that played under 55% game time there. What do you think of that? Is that what we're going to see going forward, that use of the pseudo sub? Like Pendlebury said it best when he said, if there was 5 players interchanging all the time, there'll be 5 players or more playing only 60% of game time, coming into the coach and saying, why aren't I playing more? So to keep Pendles back and say you're the one that's going to lose out on game time, gives everyone else sort of game time, elongates his game as or career as well. How did you guys see your use of the pseudo sub?
I'm just looking now at who was bottom for us. McRae
played 50,
McRae was 52%.
Yeah. Yep.
52. He was the lowest on the ground.
Yep.
Mason Wood 66, 67 Boxall. I'd imagine for us I'm not surprised it's McRae, to be honest. I think it's going to be those types, like Pendles for you, McRae for us. It's going to be those aging mids that probably need that management, but their experience is so invaluable. You do need them on field for at least half the game, whether they're impacting or not. They can direct players. They have that experience in that area. So I'd be surprised if like a team did, it was a youngster or something. Like, I don't know exactly what the other games were like that you just listed, but I feel like it's going to be those types, the Zorkos and these
100%.
These types of players, just to manage their load throughout the year.
Is there going to be such thing as a right or wrong way to do it? Like, are we going to get to the end of the year and the team that wins the premiership will be the team that we say that's the right way to do it?
Yeah, that's actually interesting.
I
think, what we see usually is at the team that wins a flag, everyone tries to copy little bits and pieces of that. We saw that with Collingwood in 23, 24, that we just couldn't play our game. The umpires changed the rules on how we sort of played that holding the ball game and stuff like that. So you will see maybe it evolves. Maybe I think this might be the first iteration. But I think it definitely evolves. But what I think it just does is gives the young kids more game time. Instead of Ed Allen playing 15% of game time like he would have last year as a sub, he's now playing 65%. So he's increasing his workload by 45% and not having to play VFL, but it's also elongating those older guys who can just be impacts as opposed to burst players. Pommy, what do you sort of think about it? You're the analytical one.
To answer Terry's question, I think there will be a general consensus towards the end of the season. It's obviously case by case, though. So, like, Brisbane would be the anomaly this week, being apart from Carlton, who played a ruckman as their 5th guy. I can easily explain Brisbane, though, and it is no incident that the teams that did play a ruck as their 5th ultimately lost. But I think when you look at why Richmond did it, you can kind of understand. Big ZZ top, he played up top and he rucked when Darcy Fort didn't. And he also went into, at times, the back line when they went one down with Hugh McCluggage, as Zorko played a little bit higher up the ground and Bruce Revel played a more aggressive role. You could see that it was obviously a methodology. I would be interested to see how that looked had they didn't have the early injury. Carlton, I think, would be the anomaly at the minute. And as predicted, we talked about the 5th guy. I said that in pre-season last week when you asked me the question. Everyone's played a ruckman. I said that I think everyone's duping you and just trying to say agile or big guy. Let's use this to analyse that. I do think what you did was brilliant. Pendlebury, 5th, impact where you need him, hot spot type player. I think GWS did that incredibly well this week as well. With Ralston and Delina being like the kind of go-to guys, and then they really spurted O'Halloran as well. He had less time than he usually does. They're trying to get the players. Have you noticed? If you go through them all, everyone's almost played 60 to 65% in them hard positions.
Yep.
So I think that's more of a reflection of today's game, Luke, that less rotations. We've now got the extra player. They've kind of negated that fatigue element. And the best team this week, without a shadow of a doubt for me, was GWS. They overrun Hawthorn by all their rotations, all them. It was no one stayed on too long. They really were smart about that, making it a different look. Every time you thought Hawthorn had the advantage, it totally changed, and they went with 2 runners and an extractor. It was very good to watch. So I think, to answer Terry's question, there will be a personal reason for each team, but I think the general consensus come round 24 will be you want a Lockie Neal in the grand final. You want that guy that can just be an impact, 30, 40% time, go out there, have a little bit of fun, change the game. So it's going to be interesting how it's used.
Yeah. And just to go to your original question, Luke, the point about the last touch rule.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know what I was going to expect from it, but I think it made the game flow better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very early to tell, but I was pretty comfortable with it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Players picked
100%.
up on it really, really easily.
Yeah.
Like they've been doing it for years.
Because the whole insufficient intent, if the guy miskicks it, he's not trying to kick it out, he's just shanked it. You eliminate that whole conversation and it's just last touch, like too bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the way that it was communicated.
I don't know if it links to it, but every other game, they were all, every game at least 120 points, 110 points plus, 95. And then ours was probably just the lowest scoring one, but increased scoring, I guess you could say, by the looks and among other things, but I think it would help.
Increased batterings.
I'll definitely increase the batterings.
Okay. Very good. Jake, you can go next.
Yeah. Mine was kind of, I guess it was in that realm. It was similar. I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on what you guys identified as kind of a new style or tactic that's coming back into vogue. Maybe it's not coming back into vogue, but it's something that the clubs are looking at and they're going to exploit with the new, we're talking about the new rules as a whole, but then what can clubs do off the back of that in terms of style of play? So for me, I thought the handball received the way it was used seemed way more aggressive in this round than I've seen in previous years in terms of drawing the man in. Like Collingwood, that was the one thing that I took away from the game was you don't have to be super fast, but you can be aggressive with that handball. I think clubs have kind of taken it for granted to over handball, to handball backwards, but the way Collingwood were doing it was straight through the front of a contest. And it was always 3-on-1. De Goey kicked a goal from it. McCreary kicked a goal from it. You waltzed it in, like literally just handballed through us. And we had no answer for it. And I think Sydney did that in the third quarter. They didn't do it in the first half. GWS are always very good at that. But I'm wondering if you noticed that. What are your thoughts on that? Are we thinking the handball could be even more valuable than a kick? Because I don't think we've talked about that. It's football, but I just think handballing correctly and in the right way seems very dangerous in modern day football, especially with more rotations, more players being able to run in waves. The Orange Tsunami is kind of the template, but other clubs are going to try and develop their own version of it. What did you take away from that? And was there anything else that you saw that clubs, like especially the ones that won the games, what they did?
Well, Collingwood were practicing. Collingwood handballing was that was their one iron or whatever it's fucking called in golf, Pommy. Throughout preseason. Like that's pretty much all they were doing. If you watch any of the videos that I put up, it's handballing under pressure, those long handballs, and we just executed it. So, and you just have to look at, Pendlebury. He had 26 disposals and 17 handballs. His 5 goal assists, I think only one of them was from a kick. If memory serves me correctly. So I think, we've seen, especially with Collingwood, and I can't even talk about Collingwood. We did see their handballing in 22 and 23, but this looks very different. I think you're right. It is very aggressive. Like look at Ned Long's one. It's a 20-meter handball to a running Roan Steele just to get out of traffic. I didn't really see much of it in the other games besides the slingshot with the stand on the mark. I thought they really exploited that. So that's another exploit that can come up with just slingshotting off that stand on the mark. But I think handballing might be in vogue. And I think Teresa in the comments just said we gained the most meters of any team by handballing this year.
Jeez.
This year,
killed us.
opening round. Yeah.
I thought as much as like the game showed the speed this weekend, I still thought what Collingwood did so well was not just, be a speedy team for the sake of it. They still picked their moments, when to go, when to not. And I thought their ability to control the tempo and control the ball was a highlight. And I mean, in theory, the game's quicker, yes, but it's also the first month of the season when everyone is the freshest. So once the fatigue kicks in, like the footy fatigue and the season fatigue, be curious to see how quick these quick teams still are. And then once you come to finals and everyone's banged up, if that still is a feature of the game.
We'll see this week if it keeps it up, with everyone else coming back in and having a week to kind of analyze it. Yeah. I think the Suns had 202 handballs as well. So I don't know if I think the AFL average last year was 150, 140. So they were significantly up on that this week.
Yeah. Pommy?
Look, I think what you're seeing is just with some basic rules. So, like the stand, last kick out of touch, you touched on it earlier, Luke, which I thought was some of your best analysis, actually. How people are keeping the ball in play at all costs. GWS were absolutely manic in that. Like, there was some moments where you saw Cal Brown chase down the ball almost with desperation that he didn't want it to go through and paddle it backwards when there was no real pressure on. It's almost like teams have. But there's some interesting stats I can give you that kind of deduce where the team's going. So there's two teams that really stood out this week for two different methodologies of play. I think Gold Coast would probably be the number one. Watching Gold Coast was honestly... honestly, I had to... When I went back and watched that game, every time Petrarca got the ball, I just got the first 10 seconds of the Hubs intro, the little drum beat. It made it feel a little bit better. Turned the lights off a little bit, got Mrs. Pom's moisturizer and my old boxing glove, and away I went. But assisted meters gained is a new stat, a real big stat at the minute. And if you watch the Pommy and Oz show, we talk about that. But assisted meters is how much meterage a player gets from receiving a disposal. So it disregards stupid stuff like kicking and then it's retrieved or it's a stoppage, and we get the meters gained that way. But you look at that thing, Petrarca over 508 meters gained off his touches, Johnny Noble 406, Danny Rioli 369, McAndrew 366, Tuke Miller 352. So what you're looking at there is teams willing to take contact, which is huge when you watch it at the minute. And that's something that Collingwood do probably better than any other team, and no one has quite worked it out. I listened to Ross, and it was probably, this is a big call, but the worst managerial coaching I have ever heard. And bearing in mind, out of the top 50, Voss has 49. Well done, Ross, for taking one off Michael, because it was mental when he was talking about Pendlebury did nothing. Nick Dacos only went laterally. Yeah. Nick Dacos is the fourth most player who had the fourth most meterage territory gained off a handball, 545. That is absolutely scary. He cut them apart. Josh Dacos, 486. That's huge. So Scott Pendlebury, 415 from 50%.
That's
game time.
Yeah.
So what I've noticed this week is teams willing now to go less robust. And I don't think it's pace. I think it's an uneducated call to say it's just everyone's quicker. The game is being played a lot more fluently in the terms of stoppages mean less. So that's going to be interesting how teams work, because when we get to my topic, we'll pick on Collingwood a little bit and dissect them. But I was really impressed how the teams that really had looked to keep the ball in motion was great to see. And I thought Collingwood gave the masterclass this week. I know Dogs were good, Gold Coast were good. I thought Collingwood were an absolute masterclass of how to negate a team that will go forward at all costs.
Timing beats speed.
Yep, for sure.
Well, Pommy, go for it. What's your topic?
I want you to talk about we live in the social media era, don't we? It's the social media generation where I think shiny new things somehow now hold a little bit more weight and value, particularly in sporting analysis, than the old school principles. And I think Collingwood would be the great call. I did it when I talked about it in my preview show, that this was the new age versus the old age. It was, everyone said Collingwood falling off a cliff, too old, too slow, can't do this, VFL backline. And the hype was St Kilda, wasn't it? Young pretenders, Flash, going to play this new style. And ultimately, Collingwood took St Kilda to school, not with modern day principles, with old school principles. And are we losing that in the AFL at the minute? Are we, like, everyone talks about Nas, but genuinely, if anyone has said Nas and Nick Dacos are in the same conversation, please contact Swoop after the show. I'm sure he'll put you on to Peter Dacos, and you can ring him personally and apologise for having such a ridiculous opinion. Because what you saw was Collingwood's ability to go backwards instead of forwards. Collingwood's kick mark, people have started in the analysis world, elite kickers, brilliant kickers. But they were players that last year were condemned. Isaac Quainer's ball use, IQ was condemned. People have said, I heard, who was it? I heard Montagna last year say Josh Dacos to go to the elite level needs to learn from Dan Houston and thread them kicks. It was the guys that we don't associate with good kicking, I felt won them the game. And there's a great passage of play in the third when Saints were on fire, where it gets taken by fullback, you go to right back pocket, it goes to right halfback, and Collingwood, instead of going forward, they went back the way they came. And what that did is when Josh Dacos got it, poor flying Ryan had to come and be the man on the mark, which then opened up Nick Dacos, little chip kick, Nick Dacos, handball inside to Pendlebury. Nick Dacos is on the end of it in 50. Bob's a nice little kick, goal straight away. But you look at that was like 20 touches they didn't know. So my question to everyone in the audience, you guys, is are we too obsessed with the in vogue thing, but still the old school principles remain? Patience, kicking, marking, reading the game are so much more important than 2 million and a Visa line white smile.
Jake, you want to start on that one?
No, what can I say? I've expressed the way we lost, and that was summarized perfectly. I mean, it's an obsession with playing a fast game, kicking a big score. I think Collingwood kind of don't really care about that too much. They just care about getting the 4 points, not the way they get the 4 points. So, but that goes back to experience again. Like all of that happens because of the experience. You can't just say it and then it happens. You've got to train it. You've got to do it for 5-10 years. You've got to do it under immense pressure in the biggest moments, in the biggest games. And then it's second nature. So for us to do that, that's going to take time. For them to do that, that's what they do. That's just second nature to them. So you can't have that without the experience. You just can't. Like you can't skip.
May I ask you a question, Luke? Jay, just based on what you saw.
You absolutely can, Pom. Any question you want.
No, were you incredibly disappointed in your more senior heads down the back? Because it felt like they had been told to go out and play that expansive gameplay. And in that second half, I didn't see Ross's DNA there, because Ross is probably the archetype of slow and steady, kick mark, gain territory, inch by inch, not mile by mile. Do you think sometimes went the wrong way and there was almost like we're the St Kilda Mafia, we're gold-plated Rolls-Royce, play exciting, and it kind of infected the very core fabric of what you're about?
Yeah, 100%. That was the last 5 minutes. Watch the last 5 minutes and then you'll know. Like the inside 50s, Darcy Wilson kicking it out on the full under
Yeah.
little pressure, like stuff like that. Him soccering it twice, like he's a young kid and he didn't need to do that twice. Like I called him out on the channel for that. It was just kind of uncharacteristic moments from those players. But like, and even in the last 4 minutes, we went backwards a few times and sideways too, when the crowd was saying, "Go, like bloody go!" You know, so we didn't really know when to pull the trigger. We kind of did it at the wrong time, and then when we turned it over, Collingwood was so great at just chipping it around. I think I counted at the game, like there was 5 minutes to go, 2 goals of difference. I'm like, we can still win this. And then we turned it over. By the time we got it back, because they chipped it around, it was 350. Then we turned it over again, 2 minutes left on the clock. And then we turned it over again. And there was 30 seconds. I'm like, they've taken 4 minutes off the last 6 minutes by just chipping it around. I'm like, that is brilliant. That's a team not obsessed with the aesthetic. That's just a team that's like, nah, we're playing the scoreboard. I think McRae said that in his presser too, that if we, I've read somewhere that if we maybe have hit the front, that would have forced Collingwood to play quick. And that might have then allowed us to play our game a bit more, but we never got that to that point. So that Collingwood played the scoreboard and the time really well. And that was their strategy. So yeah, that's enough superlatives, I think.
Yeah, I just think with time, I mean, I think there's a time and a place for all these new things. I mean, last year, the modern game was the talking point. It started really rearing its head last year. The modern game, Adelaide Crows, slingshot, run and gun, fast football. And then the team that wins the premiership is the one that has the best balance of all of the elements of the game. The team that has really, really strong inside game, really strong outside game, elite kicking. They got runners. Like they got it all, the Brisbane Lions. And I mean, Geelong's got quick ball movement as well. But I mean, the game management part of the AFL comes into it, experience comes into it. So I think every year there'll be the new thing, the shiny thing, whether it's game style or style of player, whatever it is. But yeah, over the course of however many months, what is it, 5 months, 6 months that we do this for now? I think the fundamentals of the game still have a big role to play in who wins and loses.
Mr. Sunglasses, like you're
waiting to be summoned.
Like, come on. Like, I'll give you this, and this is a question for both you and Terry, because both of your teams attack this in a different way. But 2 players I want to look at for Collingwood, and a player that I thought was unheralded this week. So we'll go with Gold Coast first. Alex Davis. Yep. This is what I mean. Got no credit this week, but he got first possession from stoppage of clearance more than anyone on the ground that day, right? Out of his handballs, this is a crazy statistic for you. 17 handballs, 12 of them hit Petrarca, right? He went at a staggering, right? That's what, 80% of his handballs, making sure that he got it there. Carlton, Mark Pitternet went at 100% with his handballs, won first possession more than anyone else. Predominantly split that between Walsh and Mr. Jagger Smith. And your guy, Darcy Cameron, finding Nick Dacos and Scott Pendlebury numerous times, going at nearly 100%, being your number 1 first possession ball winner. What do you think do you think we're starting to miss these types of players? Because they're the kind of guys that I think we're starting to phase out. Clayton Oliver and Lockie Neal were the 2 biggest handballers this week with first possession. Lockie Neal losing, but he kind of Clayton Oliver going into this game. Everyone said the game's gone past him. Darcy Cameron, people are saying that you've got to be an athletic ruckman. Back Pitternet, you've got to be an athletic ruckman. Are we starting to forget that just the raw basics allow you to play brand of football that can beat just about anything? Because they executed their basics, I thought, better than anyone on the planet this week.
Yeah, just a quick one with Alex Davies as well. He only played 57% of game time, and he was able to do that. He was the lowest player on the ground for both teams and was able to play like that. So that, again, pseudo-sub sort of thing, insane. But I agree, Prom. Like, what's the saying? Like, history always is repeating it, always repeats itself. It's a cycle, right? It always comes around. And we've just, like, I didn't see Collingwood doing any of that last season, but when I've been to, I don't know, 50 training sessions since the end of this last season. That's all they were doing. That's all they were practicing. It was, you're still practicing your kick marks and your chaos balls and stuff like that. but we were handballing more than usual, and that game was cut and copy of that. But we're still trying to pinch, and there's still the fundamental of kick mark, like sort of Jake was saying. And that's how Brisbane have won back-to-back premierships, with that kick mark sort of game. But they still have that handballing weapon there. And Darcy Cameron, I said it in my key points video. Nick Dacos is pretty. He's the Ferrari. He's the Porsche, driving through. But Darcy Cameron, arguably, maybe not even arguably, is our most important player. Day dot. He's the one that should be on $2 million a season. You know what I mean? And what happens is if he goes down, we're cooked. And Oscar Steen isn't going to be handballing to Pendlebury. He's not going to be handballing to Nick Dacos. He's just going to try and get it as far away as he can from the other ruckmen. So you're right. These smart sort of players that read the game in that way, in that basic Flintstone-y fundamental way, are coming back in vogue, and we've seen that a lot.
Well said.
Did you like the Flintstone reference? I thought
that was actually very good. Wow, Jake. Jake.
How I don't get how my team didn't concede 20 goals and a half, and we're talking about the same as the majority of this video.
We can talk about the Blues, mate. Any question you have, you let me know. I'll answer any question.
You went there. You were there. You saw it in the flesh. Talk about that experience.
I'll be honest.
How'd you feel?
Like, as a Carlton supporter, you're like, okay, this is flattening. But as a footy fan, I'm like, holy shit, this is the greatest showcase of the game. It's sexy. The Sydney Swans, when they're up and about, tails wagging, crowd behind them, they're just so in sync. It's sexy. Now, it was sexy in 2024 when they did it. They got to the grand final and they didn't have the same pace. 2022 might have been a similar story. I think they'll be a really good team. I like the way that they play the game. I think if they're healthy, they'll be one of the contenders this year. I've been saying this to my chat and in my videos as well. Carlton are not a contender. I'm very comfortable with that. But this time last year, I was saying we're in the window. Look at the list. It's time. Made a prelim a few years ago. Yada yada yada. But now I'm pretty. I hate that, looking at the future and not green shoots. Like, I don't want to go doomsday and give the club an out and say, oh, we're rebuilding. You can't be giving up 12 goals in a quarter. It doesn't matter if you're the worst team in the competition or what.
Yeah.
But I didn't go to Sydney expecting a win. This Thursday will be very different. I won't be as chilled if we don't perform this Thursday, because there is the expectation of the result, no matter what this team is and where it is and who left and all of that. So, yeah, the Saints' expectation. Welcome to the game. That's why you'll be hearing about it, because the Saints are expected to perform. You spent the big bucks on these players, and it is unfair that people will just talk about the money. But because you also help change a narrative around St Kilda by spending the money and showing that, hey, we don't care. We're gonna be bold and brash and do something we haven't done. But when Mark Pitternet's having the exact same output, if not more, than Tom de Koning, like, it's a natural question that's going to be raised.
Maybe.
But no, I fully agree. And like, in fairness, the Carlton game was Thursday. Everyone was talking about it on Thursday night, on Friday, on Saturday as well, with the 12 goals and stuff like that. The Saints game was, we played what, 2 days ago.
48 hours.
Yeah. So it's still, it's almost been a week since that Carlton game. Great hate watch. I'll admit that. Great hate watch. But I think Terry, hit the nail on the head, and that's, and that was a narrative even from a Collingwood perspective. It was and I heard a lot of St Kilda pundits or a lot of St Kilda supporters. Oh, no Darcy, no Jeremy Howe. Cooper Sharma's going to kick a bag. Owens will kick a bag. Higgins is going to kick 6. Like, we're going to kick it. We're going to kick a long time. De Koning is going to float down there. Marshall got concussed in the fourth quarter or whatever it was. So, before that, don't forget,
Nas is basically Gary Ablett Jr.
Well, Nas, I'm not going to get into it, but
what was the quote?
Naz
Undermining
Hey,
Matt, comparing him to Nick Dacos. We should be comparing him to the greats. Gary Ablett Jr., I believe, was the SEN quote. Okay. Gary Ablett Jr. maybe now.
His teammates are going to start focusing on that tag now, because that's not
100%.
something they've even thought about. They kind of let him do what he wanted last year and thought, yeah, Naz is Naz. Now this year they're going to actually get in for him. What do you laugh about, Pom? Talk to me, mate.
Hey, mate, I've got nothing else.
If there was a compilation of me trying to talk and you giggling at the same time, it'd be 90% of when I talk. So pull your head in. Pull your head in. Stop pretending to be nice on camera.
Jake, look,
I'm
on
playing it up.
behalf
I'm
of
playing
the
it up.
household, as the
I'm
father
playing
of
it
this
up.
household, I apologise for being happy, Jake. I'm sorry.
Stirring.
Audience, are you like my eldest? Because
Viewers,
you're having a bad day, we all have to. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm just laughing. I'm having a ripper day.
I'm laughing because I witnessed the worst quarter ever from my team, mate. You don't know what it was like to be me. I was in front of 1,000 people at that third quarter. The entire world had come in, and literally I witnessed the worst thing I've ever seen with 2 eyes. You know what I mean? Like, before, the worst thing I've ever seen was holding my nana's hand, as she took a final breath. That was a light work.
Okay.
And watching, I would live that for 30 minutes every day than ever see Michael Voss scratch his head like this when the 5th goal in a fucking goes through and Cripps has the audacity to start a fight. Like, honestly, mate, I have to laugh. If I don't laugh, you might not see me.
It's a weird energy tonight. That's all I'm saying.
I'm on empty, mate. Let me smile.
Mate, not a weird energy for me. Champion.
I don't get. I do the sunny. Like, what was the sunnies a thing before, or was this like because I did it when we won a few games? Like, I don't understand this. Where's this come from?
The head loss after one game is amazing.
You think this is a head loss? Have you watched my review?
I have.
And what do you think? Was that a head loss?
I thought I didn't get an invite to the car. That's what I thought. I lost my invite.
I had to lock the doors the second I got in. I'm like, nah. I actually thought you were gonna pop up from boot or something. Trust me.
Hey man, shout out to the True Bloods boys. They're in the chat.
Yeah, well done. I'm very impressed you haven't pot shotted us, Deebs and Mads. Much love. You know what, Jake? I've got to say, I did watch your review. I really enjoyed it. Question: are you ever thinking of going into politics later?
Definitely not.
Because genuinely, them levels of copium made Dan Andrews jealous. I was very impressed.
No, get stuff.
Genuinely, I was like, I could see Jake looking me in the eye and saying, "We've got a supercomputer, which is why you're not allowed to leave your house for 20 kilometers." Genuinely, that was the level. I was very impressed with you, mate. Proud of you.
You know what? I had to continually remind myself. Wait, no, we didn't get done by 10 goals. We didn't get done by 10 goals. You know what I mean? By what the reception's been and the comments from everyone. 12 points. It's all right. It's all right.
But I don't think that was anyway. Terry, what's your topic for this weekend?
We haven't even got to Terry's topic. Have we not got to his topic?
This is the topic.
If this is the topic, mate. Move on.
I love this. No, so my topic is around player movement, right? So we saw. I picture a couple of these images in your head.
8 million. No, players had 8 million dollars.
Nice segue.
Players just had $8 million worth, mate.
Chill.
And Harry Perryman, fucking first-time tagger, took out one of them. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm glad that we've got 12 minutes left. All right, perfect.
No. So, I mean, picture the following. You know, Christian Petrarca smiling, rapt, just happy. Clayton Oliver. I mean, I know that the Saints lost, but Tom de Koning enjoying himself. He was loving it. He was up and about. And as much as it, pains me to, see Charlie Curnow not playing for Carlton with a care factor for Carlton anymore, but he was happy at Sydney. So on the one hand, there's how good is it to see player movement, and should we be leaning into it more than what we do? Because I think the AFL, and I think we have a very delicate culture with this sport of we've got to keep things the way that they were built. The bounce, we struggle to, remove ourselves from the bounce, daytime grand final. We're very much built into this culture of just do it how it's always been. Whereas we're moving into free agency. we're moving into this new way of playing the game. We're moving away from contested footy, whatever you want to call it. So I guess my question and my point that I want to raise is, what is the right balance do you think that we should be leaning into player movement? Because obviously on the one hand, it revitalizes players. It brings fresh energy, fresh storylines, fresh marketing, fresh Guernseys, fresh revenue, all of this freshness. But on the other hand, it really erodes that contract sanctity, and it forces clubs to have to overspend to keep players at their clubs, these sorts of things. So yeah, just to go around and get your thoughts on player movement, good and bad.
Well, I can sort of talk about it with Collingwood recently. Like, I think, talking about contracts and stuff like that, that big sort of clear out that we had when we had to give away Treloar, we had to give away Stevenson for peanuts because we just overpaid, and then other players were coming out of contract. Now, this was before all the new player agreements and all that sort of stuff. And that, that was a crazy time, and since then, that was probably the biggest, and Grundy as well would have been the next after that cycle, the next biggest one that we sort of gave away after signing him. I think it was, someone will correct me, 6 or 7 years. And then having to pay him at Melbourne, having to pay, Jesus Christ, Pommy, having to pay him at Sydney as well. And still, I think this might be Adam Treloar's. I think we've finished both of those contracts now. But, recently we haven't had to see anyone sort of leave that has been sort of like huge. Like, it's like, not like a Kerno or a TDK, whatever it might have been. We haven't had to see anyone leave like that, but we've had to bring players in. Perryman, Houston, and you're over, like you said, you're overpaying for these players, but we have to get used to it. There's all this talk already about Nick and Tasmania, and that's just gonna happen for the next 2 fucking years until, he either signs a 10-year contract extension with Collingwood, keeping him here till 2045, or he doesn't, and he leaves to go to Gold Coast in 5 years when his contract's up, or whatever it sort of may be. It's good for the theatre. It's Americanizing a lot of it. Not in the sense where players can just, they can just pluck players out and they can send them anywhere. I don't think we'll ever get to that. But I think it's good. I think it's good for the game. Like, the Saints will get better with all the players they bring. Mackay probably plays better with just being the lone shark up there. Sydney get a good forward that they need. They haven't had one, since Buddy left, and Logan McDonald and Amadi aren't those players. I think it's fucking fantastic. In saying that, I won't think it's fantastic if Nick leaves, but right now it's beautiful.
But if he wins, say Collingwood win a premiership in the next year or two, so Nick becomes a 2-time premiership player for Collingwood and then goes to Tasmania, like, would you begrudge him?
Look, if I'm getting offered, whatever it is, $4 million, let's just say $4 million a year to go to Tasmania and play for them, you don't begrudge him. You kind of go, okay, we lose the Dacos legacy. Maybe he comes back around like Gary Ablett Jr. Did with Geelong and try again for another flag. But if he wins another flag and wins a Brownlow or something, and then he wants to get his pay packet and just have a quiet life,
yeah,
mate, it is what it is. Like, that's football. That's football now. And we get fucking 3 or 5 first round picks because of it, and we rebuild or whatever it may be. It is what it is. I'll be upset, but you can't begrudge a player for that. Even like, so I don't know what it was like for TDK. You can't begrudge him 1.7, whatever it is. I don't know what it was like for Kerno. I don't know if he was on more money or the same money.
No, Kerno wasn't a money decision. Kerno was coming out of Carlton.
Yeah. Okay. So different for that. You can begrudge him for that, but you can't begrudge someone for trying to set up. These guys only play till they're 32, 33,
What about you guys, Pommy and Jake?
I just like it because
go on, Jake. You've got more new signings than me, so go.
Well, I was just going to say, from my perspective, I just like that in an AFL world where, we could go in that EPL direction and there could be 5 or 6 teams dominate for such a long time. I like that some of the smaller teams, if they play smart and they build their finances in a certain way, they can attract these players and go for them. I think it just sells hope. And I think there are clubs at the bottom, like, even the Bombers, like being linked to someone like Zach Bailey, I think is very exciting. Like just for their supporter base, they might not make finals, but they've got that to hang their hat on and go, well, okay, maybe we can get him. And I think in years gone by, maybe those teams down the bottom, or at least the bottom 4 or 5, didn't have that extra layer on top of, okay, it's not just about making finals. It's, hey, can we be a complete club and sell ourselves to someone like that, to a prospect? I don't think I've viewed football in that way up until maybe the last 2 years, just from my perspective. And it does help sell tickets and get memberships, and there's a bit of momentum. I feel like the clubs at the bottom will benefit from it more, at least I hope, than some of the ones at the top. I think they'll be poaching from the top, if that makes sense. I think Brisbane will lose players. There'll be Giants always lose players. The Suns always lose players. And then that kind of works in sort of that equalization method. But only when, you've done your due diligence. You don't want to go and throw money out willy-nilly, like some people think we've done. But if we win games, then you'd say it works. But I think it's just exciting for the game. And it's kind of cool. Like it'd be cool to see a club almost like we talk about Origin and how it's so many different types of star players in one team. There might be a club in 10 years' time that just work their salary cap so perfectly that they just build this dream team. And it'd be kind of sick to see a team do that, like just get all these stars and plug every gap and spend huge money on everyone. Obviously, it might be difficult with the cap, but who knows in 10 years if a club will be able to do that in terms of their finances. But that to me is kind of cool. As like just a fan of the game.
Yeah. Pump.
I come from a sport where player movement, I am that old. I remember a busy transfer period being 5 players in the UK. And you got excited. So I've seen the Premier League, Sky Sports, the invasion. And, at first it was exciting. I remember as a kid, super exciting. You start learning European football. Then you move here, and I think AFL needs to be careful. Yes, it's exciting when it's not in your backyard. I think there is something beautiful about AFL, that we have one club players so frequently, that there is like that lineage and that history of the game. And I think we've got to be careful of what we wish for. We want to be the big Americans, but then people cry when the AFL do American things. But people chop and change and use it. So, like, for me, to answer your question, I hope we don't ever become the NBA or the NFL, where players just move all the time. I'd like to see. I like to see player movement to an extent, particularly players this year. We've seen like Petrarca. He's always looked unhappy, hasn't he? And you know what? I've bagged Petrarca on this show because there's something that just makes me want to punch him. But for some reason, when he's at Gold Coast, I liked it. Like,
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
The big smile on his face. I never forget. 2 minutes in, Alex Davies tackles someone, and seeing Petrarca lift him up, ruffle his hair, and like give him a little bum tap, and how happy he was. I was like, you know what? I like Petrarca, man. He looks so happy. Like, look, and then watching Oliver, I've always thought he looks like a miserable prick, but he looked genuinely happy. He looked healthy. He looked like he's lost weight. There was no stress. Then I look at players I looked at Silvani. You know, one thing I'll say about Jack Silvani, I know I've pot-shotted you tonight, Jake, and it's just my way of coping with stuff. Toxic trait. But I looked at Jack Silvani, and you know what? Even though his name is historically Carlton, I have never seen Jack Silvani look that relaxed. He always looks like he needs a really big poo. Like, it looks like there's so much stress and the weight of the world is on his hands. But to actually see him look relaxed and free, I was like, you know what you've done? And you know what? He breaks my heart. Seeing Charlie Kerner.
Yeah.
To see Charlie Kerner, like, genuinely smile. And I was kind of like, okay, you're a dickhead, I hate you. But I can also see it from his point of view. So I hope we have player movement in that avenue, that we still focus on the players' mental well-being. But I really hope, I disagree with you there, Jake. I hope we never see like Tasmania, I'd hate to see them go Nick Dacos, Jagger Smith, and Colby McKercher. 6 million over there. I'd hate to see a super side built. I kind of already feel with Gold Coast they've got a super side, and I feel like
but see, you're talking about handouts there by the Gold Coast Suns and what they've got. I'm talking about like a bottom club like us working the cap fairly and building over time. It's a bit different than coming in with a huge salary the KFL give them and then they just do it. You know what I mean?
Like I see Gold Coast as a super club. I look at them and I think, okay, how can the other teams compete with that? Because by my count, I count 12 A graders. 3 of them potentially could be best 5 in the league in the future. That depth, I think he's going to be like Man City in the UK when they first started spending big money and Liverpool, United, Chelsea couldn't keep up. So that's what worries me. I hope we don't have that. I like the fact that our game, 18th can beat 1st, 16th can beat 4th. So it's sad.
Yeah. Very good. Do we want to wrap up or do we want to tip for the week?
Let's do tips.
We'll do a little tip. I know what that means coming out, lads.
The ladder predictor.
Yeah. Hey. All right.
I'm going to be there Thursday night. It's going to be fun.
Are you just?
You're going to be hate watching.
So. Perhaps. We'll see.
No. Are you going to be hate watching?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm going with
the Richmond supporter. I want a good game.
You are going in there supporting Richmond.
I'm going with a Richmond supporter, so I feel like, there's some sort of obligation.
No, there's not.
I'll remember that.
You got to go for the underdog, don't you? Richmond are the underdog.
We're the underdog, bro. Did you see
you're not. No, you're not. Bro, don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Like fucking Helen Keller doing a Sudoku. What are you on about? We're not the underdog.
That's being kind too. All right.
It is being kind.
Okay.
Whatever.
I'm tipping Carlton if it helps. Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Come on, Carlton by 36.
On the Blues. Go on, baggers.
Surely, boys. Like, okay, Pommy and I will tip Carlton. Luke, Jake, like
I'm tipping Carlton. Yeah.
Surely, right? Like, I know we will pour in the third quarter, but they're not going to do the whole last year again, right?
Nah, there's no way.
Your first half was good against the Swans. It was good.
He's done it again, Terry. He needs to stop doing this, Swoop, because it was going well, and then he goes, "There's no way." That is uncalled for.
There's no guarantees.
Last time we lost, Terry. It's just not fair.
Okay,
you win.
Essendon, Hawthorn.
So that's another interesting one, but yeah, Hawthorn.
Essendon have got 4 debutants, I think.
Did you guys see the report that came out about the boys overseas?
Yeah. Can I just say something on that? If that was fucking a Collingwood player or maybe even a Carlton player, I don't really know how the media looks at you guys. That would have been reported for the last 4 months, every single day. How did it go? It was a jail cell. Not even DeGoey went to, when he was in New York, went into jail for the night. 2 players in a jail cell, and it just comes out now because they do a tell-all interview because they've got their, they hurt themselves, they hurt their feelings or something, or just might have, like, how did no one know for 4 months? And these guys know, and these journos know what goes on in a fucking team meeting. It's wild.
The most bizarre part of that report was Mitch Cleary did a sit down with Dylan Moore, and he said, "Oh, you were charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. What do you have to say about that?" And Dylan Moore goes, "Oh no, that was dismissed." And then that was the end of the questioning about the drug paraphernalia. Like, what?
But why were you charged with it then, even if it was dismissed? Fuck me.
I don't know. Whatever. I mean, they were in Vegas. They had a bit too much to drink. Jumped on a scissor lift.
Insane.
It is what it is. Hawthorn, they'll win this, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I'm keen to see Esther. I think Roby, Sharp, Condogianis, and Hussein El.
Okay.
Here.
Listen here, Italian. It's Gondoyanis.
Mate, I'm Maltese. We don't all look the same, us and the Italians. All right. and 2, I'm third generation Maltese. So
All right. Western Bulldogs, who got no airtime tonight. Shame on us.
yeah,
And the
fucking
GWS
fantastic.
Giants.
Doggies.
Great game.
Honestly, my grand finalists in my preseason prediction, big doggies. The doggies are the real deal.
Wow.
Are the Giants still frauds, Pomp? Or TBC on that?
No, in the preseason I said because I cursed them because Clayton Oliver came there. I was like him and Green. Now they're a serious football team, and Green decided to do his ACL 2 days after I released that video. So I apologise to the Giants. That was on me. But they'll be all right this year. But doggies, big dogs. I love the dogs.
It's actually one of the better Saturday schedules you'll see because straight after that,
great games.
the long Fremantle at GMHBA.
It's Frio's favourite ground.
Yeah, I think Freo. Hayden Young's playing. I know Frederick is out for a few months, I think he said, or 6 weeks or something. But hopefully Mason Cox plays.
I think Geelong. Just because, did anyone actually watch Chris Scott's best press conference ever?
Nah.
After the game?
How good was it that a journalist asked him, "Are you happy for Petrarca?"
What question
He
is
looked
that?
like he wanted to kill a cat. And the first question, "Are you happy for Petrarca?" And it was the way he answered it. Yeah, I'm stoked for him.
Weirdos, these
I
journalists.
reckon Geelong, because Chris Scott looks like he is. I reckon he's destroyed everyone at that football club.
I'm going Freo.
Wait,
Yeah.
Luke, you're going Freo?
Freo. Yep.
I'm going
Freo as
Geelong.
well.
All right, chat.
Whoa.
Chat, you got to fix this. We'll give you a minute. Type, who wins, Geelong or Fremantle?
And Freo won the last 2 or 3 there.
They have,
I think
yeah.
they've got last
That's
2 or
why
3,
I'm backing the Cats. I think last week was so bad.
Yeah.
That I just can't see it.
Yeah.
Is Cameron? Are they back?
Yeah, I think they're all playing. I think Cameron's
playing?
playing.
Yeah, Chris Scott's done a blood ritual. They're all fine.
Yeah, people are saying Freo.
It was early Geelong.
Genuinely,
and
after
then
this
Freo.
show, just go and watch this interview because I can't believe someone had the balls to ask him about Christian Petrarca. He looked like he was going to kill someone.
What is it? Freo?
I think it's Freo just.
Yeah, just. Yep.
Okay. Sydney, Brisbane. Brisbane have all these suspensions. I don't know what the result is of some of these appeals, but nonetheless.
Oh, Harris Andrews is still going, right? Gardner didn't get off. He still got the week.
Okay.
I'd still.
Sydney by a lot.
Yeah.
A touch up. Okay.
Yeah.
What if the Swans put on 8-9 goals in a quarter against the Lions?
Oh, don't do it to yourself. It's still bad, mate. It's still bad.
I know it's bad.
It's nothing will make that better, Terry, at all. There's nothing. You've just got to forget about it and hope it never happens again.
Yeah. Swannies.
All right.
Yeah.
Swans. Oh.
This will be
Collingwood.
fucking good. This will be
This will
another
be
close
great.
game. This will be another close game.
They're always close to the G with these two.
Yeah.
They're always rippers.
Yeah.
Collingwood.
I'm a big Collingwood advocate. I've got a feeling that Adelaide win this. And the reason why is I was super impressed in pre-season, even though their results weren't brilliant. They've tried to slow the game down. I've got a feeling they're going to do a GWS, and everyone's just suspected their shit. I feel like they do it, but hard to tip against Collingwood at the G. I have
Darcy
so much
Darcy Moore coming back.
100%.
No Keane either for the Crows. So they lose a big
100%.
defender.
I've just got a feeling that Adelaide surprises, but I'm happy to go Collingwood if you guys are.
No Rankin.
I'd still go Crows, but I think majority's Collingwood.
All right. North Melbourne, Port Adelaide. This is
North,
Port. No?
It should be, but it's their both their first games of the year, so who knows what's going to happen?
Like, it's all build for North Melbourne, get off
Yeah.
to the good start. But I don't know.
feels
I
like
think,
it.
I think you're right.
I think Port will do it.
Well, North played their pretty much their A side against us in the preseason, and we played, 11 players short of the best 23, and they only beat us by a point. Port should come out and smack them by 50.
Jake,
They should. Yeah, Port should.
Tommy, Port, North.
Look, I'm eagerly waiting. I've watched too much David King and Marnie. Like
He's
David King
persuaded.
saying, we're a system side now. It's not about talent. But no, Port Adelaide. But I really hope the Kangas get up. I would.
Here we go. The $1 million men against a team that's rebuilding. They gut their list, and the $6 million men have to win at the MCG.
And they got Steely. So there's a bit of
Oh,
bit of that in it.
yeah.
Oh,
Ex-captain. So
fight in this
that'll
one.
be
wow,
that'll
they
be-
dogged their captain and
they
just
dog their captain. Yeah.
they threw him to the wolves.
Yeah.
Just to get fucking TDK. St Kilda in a close
Yeah,
one.
St Kilda.
Saints are back. This will be it. You'll be back here.
Yeah. This is Nas, taking screamers. Yeah. There's no way West Coast win this, right?
Jesus Christ. This is going to be a 200-point game.
Yeah, I was gonna if the Suns play like they did last week at their home ground, that's going to be that's perfect for Sunday twilight slot.
That could be like, honestly, that could be like Bonnie Blue's Hyman when she did the 1,000 guys. Like that could be bad.
Yeah.
Gee, Bonnie Blue gets a good run these days in AFL chat.
I'm trying to do a live stream with her. I think it would be great for the culture. Like we use her analogy all the time. Like that would be the dream. Carlton versus North. Good Friday. Me and Bonnie.
Bonnie and Oz.
I think it would be brilliant.
All right, let's wrap it up. Boys, loved it. Love being back. Looking forward to riding the highs and lows of every week. So hope you enjoyed tonight. Ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.
Great to have you here. And we'll see you next week.